Okay, greetings. It is very warm in here. It's been very warm all day, and as you know, this garage, all that insulation put in, really good in the winter time. It's really not good in the summertime. But you know, I don't need to put the heat on. Let's just say that. What I do need to do is to have a nice, refreshing cold beer, the first beer of the weekend. And what do you know? I do have one here. Look at this. Okay, so this is the Chiron. This is the Thornbridge Chiron that I brewed a couple of weeks ago. You're going to see the video for that now. I'll come back at the end. Okay, I'm still sitting here. I've been sitting here for about 5-10 minutes waiting for you to come back. So yeah, there's what it is there. So this is based off out of the Camra home brewing book. For anyone who wants to have a look. Chiron. So blah 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 blah. Thornbridge, brewed by Thornbridge, and it's a pale golden colour. Okay, not pale. It's not golden. Weighs in 5% ABV, a wonderfully balanced combination of citrusy hops offer notes of apricots and tangerines. The malt sits underneath, offering a light biscuit flavour without being sweet. The bitterness is sufficient to cleanse the palate without drying, making for a sessionable drinking experience. So it just sounds like a pale ale, really, doesn't it? Maybe a bit of with a bit more malt character to it. Maybe with all the Munich malt in that went into it. Now, obviously, my version slightly different because I'm using what I have rather than exactly what was in the recipe. So mine came in at 4.6%. It's the first thing, which was intended. So it's extra pale Maris Otter. We've got wheat blanc. Standard crystal, so it was caramel, I think, in the recipe, but I didn't have any, so all I had was standard crystal, which is 172 EBC, so it's quite dark. And then Munich malt as well. And then the hops in the book, the hops are Pearl, Cascade, Amarillo. Sorry, Pearl for bittering, Cascade, Amarillo, Columbus, and Chinook at Flameout. And then Amarillo, Cascade, Chinook. So what I did was I used Tomahawk for bittering, and then we had Nelson Sauvin going in at 15, and then at Flameout we had Cascade and Centennial and Citra, and then those three hops again for a dry hop. So it is somewhat different, okay. And then we used the Einstein the Ironstein lager yeast for it. So that is what is in this glass here. It's clearing nicely, which is good, because you really get to see the colour now that it's properly cleared, because before it was like, it was a really bad looking New England IPA is what it looked like. It was very muddy, but thankfully it's cleared. So it's been in the keg for about 2 weeks now, to be fair, because I was waiting for it to clear before doing this. The head, when I poured it, the head was up to there. It's obviously dissipated a little bit, but it is pure white, and the carbonation is decent without being, you know, fizzy lager. So it's obviously not all that crystal in there. It means it's more gold. Can I call that gold? Without, because you know, you would associate gold with golden ale. Maybe not. Copper, maybe. But yeah, it looks like an IPA. That's what it looks like, you know. Well, it tastes like an IPA. Because you remember all the old West Coast IPAs and stuff you used to get back in the day, and there was like loads and loads. It was really, really bitter, but there was loads and loads of crystal malt in there. So it was sweet and bitter at the same time, and it was curious. So I should probably make one of them sometime. Anyway, that's a thought for another day though. So we're not expecting apricots and tangerines though, but we are definitely getting orange. Getting a bit of the malt as well too. Toasty. Toast and orange marmalade. That's what we're doing. A little touch of like the lemon note. Something like that. Quite bright as well too. So you've got the kind of like the, I don't want to say dank, but you know, those kind of yeah, not bright aromas, but yet there's a little touch of something in there which quite nice. It does smell quite good. So yeah, cheers. Let's go in. Yeah, it's actually quite, or feels quite low carbonation on it, like a little bit lower than what it should be, but it's still going up the glass. But maybe it's because I'm in a lager glass. Don't know. Yeah, first thing I'll say, it's not a bitter beer, but you do get this thing on the back, and I don't know if it's bitterness or if it's just hop, kind of, I don't want to say hop bitterness, but it's just this taste you're left with in the mouth, as if you've used maybe, you know, a few too many hops or something in it. But I don't want to say hop burn either, because it's not that. It's not unpleasant, but it is kind of, maybe it's just because the beer's quite light. You know, if it had been up to 5% or something like that, it might work a bit better or disguise it a little bit more or whatever. But so we'll say that. So maybe the Pearl, maybe the Tomahawk, which is Columbus, in other words, maybe that's a little bit too aggressive a hop for a beer like this, because it is quite a light beer, and mouthfeel is quite light, which is good in kind of this kind of heat. It's neither sweet or bitter. It's a little bit of both. So when I was saying about the kind of a West Coast IPAs, it is kind of something like that. You can definitely taste the crystal in there, which is quite nice. But yeah, maybe I've gone a little bit too much with the hops or something, but it's a really nice malt flavour on that. So you got the crystal, you've got a little bit of breadiness from the Munich. And they do actually work quite well together. Now I always kind of just used. I mean, I'm not really one for putting loads of crystal into beers, but I always kind of used Vienna in particular. But I've started going back onto the Munich malt again, you know, as instead of using crystal. So that means I'm not just buying loads of different malts that might never get used. But I'm actually quite enjoying that, and a combination of the both as well too. So they're not exactly the same, and combined is actually quite nice. And the hops work in that. You've got nice little touch of the lemon again, a little bit of grapefruit, that kind of orange underneath everything as well. So again, I'm still, as I said, I think I've said in plenty of videos before, I keep making the same beer because I have the same hops, because I always buy them in like kilos, batches, the ones I like, and yeah, so it just means you're making the same beer all the time. But the beer's pretty good, it has to be said. The beer's pretty good. As far as the Nelson goes, I remember seeing Nelson in that recipe. Forgive me for not remembering this automatically, but it's been a while. Yeah, 15 minutes, 10 grams of Nelson at 15 minutes. I'm not really picking, to my knowledge, I'm not picking it up. I might, if I'm doing this again, I might try and add a little bit more. I mean, it could be in there amongst the rest of the flavours. Yeah, it's actually quite good. I do quite like that. It's not the greatest beer I've ever made. Okay, it's inoffensive. It's one of those beers where you could just drink it all night. You know, if you wanted like a big IPA or something like that, I don't think I could drink that all night, and I couldn't drink stout all night or something like that, you know, something really intense flavour. But that's quite good. It's a pale ale, isn't it? It's a pale ale. It's like bitter, I suppose. You could drink bitters all night, but because they're quite inoffensive, they're nice as long as they're nice, and that was definitely nice. So yeah, so I think that's a winner. I might do that recipe again. It could be a good base. That malt bill, even without the car malt. I mean, I imagine it would taste not a million miles away from this, even with the car malt. It would just be a bit lighter in colour. But I do quite like that. I do quite like the malt base in that. So that is definitely something I might go back into at some point, and we will switch around the hops and try and do something with that. As far as that recipe goes, I think I should have stuck with the pearl. I do have pearl. There's pearl in that recipe. I probably should have stuck with that instead of using the tomahawk. As I said before, the Nelson, I might slip a little bit more Nelson into it as well. But other than that, it wouldn't change an awful lot on it. So it's nice. It's kind of inoffensive. It's easy to drink. And that's what I'm going to do. So, happy Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers. I'll see you next week.